Hey, how's it going, everyone on YouTube? It's Fireproof Hell, and today we're going to be reviewing RE4 Remake. Actually, they wound up dropping about 15 minutes worth of gameplay. Well, sorry, 12 minutes worth of gameplay. And, we're just going to look into it and, just review as we go. I actually want to give you guys a real cool video because I haven't uploaded in a minute, and I want to make it at least a lot more, entertaining for you guys. So let's check it out and everything. Oh, yeah, also shout out to Game Informer.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Game Informer. I'm your host, Alex Van Aken, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of this exclusive gameplay footage that we have from Resident Evil 4 Remake, Chapter 5. We're going to be seeing some church gameplay, some Ashley gameplay, and some of the cabin fight, as well as, just overall fighting Ganado and yeah, trying to stay alive. So we've got about 12 minutes.
Diehard RE4 fans can, see they definitely did not miss any elements, especially when it came down to level design for sure. Like, there's going to be different locations, of course, that you're going to be able to explore, but as far as keeping original settings and stuff and paying close to the visual cues and visual updates that they gave,
Minutes of footage
you're not going to be disappointed.
Today. And I'm joined by Marcus Stewart. How are you, Marcus?
I'm also going to be posting an original,
I'm happy to be seeing this section again.
Original link to the video, probably in the description afterwards.
Had a lot of fun playing it.
Absolutely. So yeah, we are. This footage starts out, and we are, simply escaping from the church. This is how many hours into the game would you say this is, Marcus?
Yeah, it's hard to say because we don't know how long the other chapters are. It's got to be at least probably like 3-ish hours, I would guess.
Yeah.
This is not our gameplay, by the way. If people are wondering, this is a B-roll that Capcom provided, so this is someone on the team playing, not us.
Yes.
Man, look at that detail. You can even see like the characters get affected by the environment. Like, they also paid really, really close attention to how the environment interacts with the characters to give it that more realism feel. And they're not going to miss a lot of beats too, because I mainly say that because of Resident Evil 3 Remake's reputation. The game felt too drastic and it was a little bit too short. But this game, if not adding extra elements, it's going to keep everything the same. So a lot of the story beats are going to stay in, but I think it's going to be minus, QTEs and everything.
Yes, we did play through this section, everything that you see today. An important disclaimer, Capcom did help out with accommodations for travel. That means like flights, hotel, in association with this cover trip. We didn't have any of those conversations.
Still crazy though.
Our
Looks
bosses
like they
that
actually
handle all
wound
that.
up
We kind of
aging,
just show up and
actually.
do our job.
Also, you can see, of course, the whole interactions are on screen and stuff. A lot of the things in this game are going to be making sure that the game can stay running, that the action can stay running.
You can kind of move around while it's happening.
There isn't any halt in gameplay or action or anything.
Helicopter extraction point where nothing will go wrong, I'm sure. And so yeah, in the beginning you saw Leon and Ashley sort of just talking about like,
lots of inspiration from the previous
fun fact,
one.
without spoiling, there's a little extra area in that upper deck that you can find if you don't want to just beeline it straight for that ladder. So keep an eye out up there. I found it on my playthrough. So yeah, we are making our way through here. Leon being a gentleman, moving that out the way because he's all big and strong.
Spread out.
Okay.
That right there. And that's exactly what I was saying about new mechanics. They aren't going to change the game, but make it a lot more engaging. The whole idea behind sneaking behind enemies, because I remember that anytime you usually run behind cover or try to play stealth in the original game, enemy will probably see you right around. They'll probably see you through texture, crying out loud. So yeah, there's going to be a sneak mechanic because another example I want to give off is basically the one from Resident Evil 8, where first half of the game, you're running around, killing enemies, exploring and everything. And then there's that one scene in specific where, you have no items, you're sneaking around and hiding away from like, this giant baby monster. And it's just like, does this even feel like the same game? But that compared to this, it really wouldn't break a lot of elements. In fact, it would just make it a lot more engaging, especially how to approach certain enemies, because you could either be tactical and, trying to, just railgun everything, or you can be stealthy where, you're hiding behind cover, using certain items to distract enemies and stuff. It's actually pretty cool.
And yeah, this part was pretty fun to get through. I tried to get through it stealthily the first couple times.
Man, that is dope. And see, the knife animations are even all new too as well. Look at that. Oh, see, that's another cool thing too. I'm glad to actually wind up highlighting being able to switch weapons on the fly. Because being that like in the original, and I apologize if I keep having to bring up what the original does or doesn't. It's just, as a diehard Resident Evil 4 fan, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are paying attention to every single little crevice and detail that to see if, they wound up taking anything out important or anything dynamic to change the gameplay up. But being able to change the weapons on the fly, especially compared to the original game, was definitely a good change, because it was a drag having to pull out your menu just to switch from a shotgun to a pistol or just to recover health and stuff. Alright, you can even see you can still like not still, sorry. You can actually dismember enemies. So you actually, yeah, that is a still mechanic from the previous remake games, but being able to dismember enemies is another thing that can change up how you approach gameplay, or at least not gameplay, but just combat in general, a different way. Alright, you can see that they improved on the
so you're gonna notice there's gonna be a few
menu.
jumps in the clips here. Again, that's a Capcom thing, so this isn't going to be a straight run through of the chapter. It's gonna jump around at points. But as you can see, the flash grenades still very effective against those tentacle transformed Ganado. As we enter the cemetery, you get a little bit of a taste of one of the side quests, which is sort of a spin on the cemetery puzzle. As you can see, you can still shoot birds' nests to get those precious.
Alright. And another thing, actually, I just wanted to remind myself too. Well, besides the idea behind new enemies and a lot of different elements in gameplay, like there is gonna still be most likely, fingers crossed, mercenaries mode, because that's one of those things that I feel like majority of Resident Evil games, including the remakes, never tried to miss, except for Resident Evil 3, which is why it's also, not really as received. But, mercenaries mode for this game in particular, oh man, it definitely was like a whole highlight. It's like a whole different like experience of the game by itself. Like I have friends that just play mercenary modes and nothing else, or you have certain friends that like just do nothing but just continuous playthroughs on like professional difficulty. But yeah, just something I want to,
or a chicken egg that's in a bird nest in the tree. Don't ask me how that works. You know how it is. But I mean, in the original game, you killed snakes and you got chicken eggs.
We got the merchant.
There he is.
Took care of a request. Well done.
Man himself.
One has to wonder how he moves with all that heavy equipment in that coat.
You can even see like the bonuses, of course, like a lot better, and like
kind of
the scaling of the gun.
Piccolo,
Let me see.
probably pretty strong.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, like this little chart at the bottom and stuff too, to show you like, what it like, specializes more and more, or at least where your upgrades are leaning more in towards. I always like little stat menus like this and stuff. that you know, kind of give you an insight on like how balanced or unbalanced your weapon could be. But yeah, this is
I
pretty
was thinking
cool.
he's just like into CrossFit, you know.
You know, we don't
I'm
know.
glad
It's a
they actually wound up
mysterious,
exploring more
mysterious
into
figure.
it
See,
too,
we're
for sure.
upgrading our equipment here. You can upgrade knives now, as mentioned in the cover story, which is nice, which you're going to be needing because they have limited durability. And you're going to be using it quite a bit for the new parry mechanic, which I enjoy. And you can see there's another side quest right there. You're going to want to keep an eye out in the environment for those blue
Classic
flyers.
reload.
Oh, so there's the Wild Doll quest. That was one of the more involved quests that we saw so
Absolutely.
far.
We need to keep moving.
And you won't see the solution in this footage, but you will see
Man, just that
sort of what's on the
atmosphere,
other end
like
of the
everything
side
from the
quest for
smoke
you.
on the ground,
Yeah.
kind of
The
give it
dog
that
is hard to
ghastly
find.
effect.
We are going to show the dog, but the way to find the dog will be, I guess, a little bit
Of course,
of a mystery.
quicker
And
door
also, important
open
to note,
animations.
we turned left when we left that door.
I don't have to
There's
run
another
around
path
just
behind us if we were to turn
super
right
kicking every
out
single
of that
door I
door
see,
that
just get
goes
through quicker.
into an underground tunnel
Thanks,
that like
man.
takes you up through a
Really
well
proved my point.
in the village. So there's
So
a
can
lot
go
of
around
paths
super kicking everything else.
available.
Yeah,
I
like
do it with
we
doors and
both came
stuff,
through
too,
here, we just
just to get
assumed just
through a
the
little
way the
bit
camera's
quicker, you
framed.
know.
We're like, okay, this is the.
And
this
of
the
course,
only
I
way
know
to
the
go, but
feature
yeah.
might still most likely
When the
be in.
producers pulled us aside and was like, hey, check this out. And we were like, oh, okay.
And seeing these ganados
Here we go. We've
is
got
definitely
the,
perfect, because it's like,
Village at night.
I remember when I used
Lady
to just
Fox,
run
she
into
could,
ganados
take
and they'll
the
have like the same
Leon.
design features.
Didn't work
I'm
out
like,
for her.
oh, they're reusing
And this is,
assets.
I
But at the same time, no, I mean,
I was gonna
it's
just
one of
comment
those
on the
harmless
rain. I
things.
know that there's a lot of talk about
Raingate.
Raingate.
Oh,
I
sweet.
do agree.
So,
I think
looks
it's
like this is the part where they run
it
set
can be tuned
themselves.
down a little bit. It does feel like intentionally, like it is intentionally obfuscating the environment, and kind of adds
Exactly
to
where
that,
you wound up running into
that
the
tension.
village
Like you
chief.
can't see what you're shooting.
Still remember this
I do
cutscene
agree,
from
though.
anywhere.
It's a bit much.
At least not the
And
cutscene, but
you
the
know what would be
locale.
great, Marcus, if there's like a rain slider.
It's probably one of the boss fights that I'm probably most hyped
Yeah.
up about. Besides, you know,
I just want
of
a
course,
nice little downpours. We see, I love the lighting
basically,
in this game. You know,
U3.
like just the
I want to say
the
Village
bloom on
Chief.
The flashlight and just how dark everything is. Like,
and
it just
El
makes
Gigante for sure.
especially like interiors like this. If they lift Ashley up to do her thing, get Leon up there. Yeah, it just makes the interiors creepier. Like that, like the first time that owl made me jump because you just see the glowing eyes in the dark.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, like what is that?
I will say there were a couple times when I was playing the demo where I was kind of in a very dark environment and Leon wasn't pulling up his flashlight, which is kind of frustrating. So
You
I'm
can
just
even
kind of
see
like
too,
clambering
like
around in the
just like
dark.
what I was saying
It was
earlier.
mostly-
Oh shit! You can even see what I was saying earlier too, like also about like how the environment affects, like how the wind was blowing and everything, how the characters, you know,
Light,
you can tell
which
the
is kind of
characters even
frustrating. So I'm
themselves.
just kind of like clambering around in the dark.
Excuse me.
It was mostly
And
like
that
outdoor.
environment
Oh,
would struggle,
There he is.
or
The
you know,
dog.
which
Look at that thing.
I just have to definitely pause. That's pretty dope. They actually gave these dogs a stinger and stuff instead of, you know, just little tentacles coming out, because they were paying really
It's got,
close to like
almost like a
attention to
scorpion
like
tail. Now that I'm
the
looking at
body
it.
horror aspect.
So
It
yeah,
gives me that
Capcom
thing
also
of the
pointed
feels,
out,
you
for
know,
those wondering, that this dog is
like
not the
feels
dog
of the
that
thing.
Leon can rescue in the original
Or
game.
that way
You know,
they
in this
way
game,
wrong.
he's presumably dead. So you know, at the time we kind of were like, oh,
But
maybe
yeah, you
this
can
is the
tell
dog
that
they were
even the
very
environments can probably
clear to
affect the
point out, like,
characters
nope,
too, you know.
different dog.
I wouldn't say like
Okay.
making it hard to see or anything, but
But yeah, that
They
that
also
dog is
wouldn't-
pretty
you can
hard.
see that even
They also
themselves
wouldn't
they have
definitively
struggled. I mean,
answer
it's
if
pretty
it was
dope
the
to
same
give it that
dog.
realistic.
In this game as in the old game. In terms of the one that's dead at the beginning of the game, they're like, maybe it's not the same dog, and it's like, okay.
So you see a Blue Medallion up there,
Man,
and
this
it's
is too
Leon
dope.
takes it out. So
Yeah.
you see it's 1 of 5. So I asked Capcom about that because in the original game it was kind of like 15 in the same area, and they said that that side quest reappears in different parts of the map. So you're going to be shooting. It sounds like you're going to be shooting medallions
Hey, there's
outside
that man
of just
Luis.
like the village area, and they just sort of like divided them into like batches of 5.
Right, so I think that gameplay leads into the barnyard fight, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, barnyard fight with Luis and everybody.
Hey, I see you found your missing senorita.
Senorita has a name, Miss Ashley. You are?
Who are you? What are you doing here? Very good questions, unfortunately. Hide, now. Okay. It's game time.
Not gonna lie,
And due to the
personally,
cuts,
and majority of my playthroughs,
there's a lot of that
probably one
village
of the,
before
I want to say like one of the
bridge
hardest
that we
missions in the
ran
game
over
to me
that you
personally,
can, fight through and explore.
because I
Like,
never
there's a
was
lot
able to really
that
kind
they
of
didn't
keep
show in
up,
this
just trying to
footage.
keep them all in
It's
like
where,
same
at least during
same
my
little
playthrough,
area
the brute
without
first
like
appears, the cow-headed
either running
enemy,
out of ammo or
right,
panicking like
in that area
hell
just
and
before
everything.
the bridge that we crossed.
So you can
But,
Yeah,
still
because in the
use
footage we've put
the
out of this,
grab the items
people
to
have
board
seen
up
the
windows.
cow guy shows
It's
up in
actually
the
appears
pretty
fight,
cool.
here.
They showed
but
the
you
door
actually
breaking
fight him
animation instead of just
well
the door
before this.
disappearing in oblivion.
Yeah, so when
it
he
seems
shows
like
up
he's
in the
gonna
fight,
be a
Up.
what were we saying?
yeah, he's
Alright, so
definitely
we got
a
another
recurring
new
enemy, but when he
mechanic,
shows up in the
carry
fight,
feature.
you've already had to fight him before, and so I feel like it's extra tense because it's like, oh my god, I gotta fight this guy now.
Yes,
so
I saw some people speculating that he might be a single persistent enemy that follows you.
And
No.
at
pretty
least
sure
it
that is not
feels
the case. Yeah,
like
like
you
he's
actually
No,
have a
I
lot
have-
more breathing room for
I
sure.
have killed him several times in different areas.
Because it was so easy just
the
to
new
get
enemies
cornered
I
in by a bunch of enemies.
So this fight was pretty
Or,
wild as it is in
so
the original,
We
but
got our first one of the new enemies they wound up showing off. It actually kind of reminds me of the big hammer guy from Resident Evil 5 and 6.
even more so here. And there he is, Mr. Bullman.
And that's something.
There's been a lot of like
probably,
back and forth.
That's
Is he a
something
cow?
that's
He's
really
a
gonna
bull?
get.
But I was
get
like,
me,
he's
though,
got a
not gonna
horn
lie.
there. That'd be a bull thing.
Because it was already bad
Well, a
enough
bull
trying
is
to
just a
defend
cow.
off against all the ganados,
It's a
but
male cow.
I mean, yeah, they're the same thing.
That's just
but,
insult
you
to
know,
injury.
but like bulls
It'd
have
be like
horns,
throwing
and,
Mr.
you know.
Tire
That's
in
fair.
there.
That's fair.
Like probably one of the
Listen,
closest
He's got a
range,
single horn there. It looks like as
buildings, and then putting a bunch of zombies around. Oh wait, that's what Resident Evil 2 did.
And yeah, that's the end of the action.
Okay, you can see a lot of
gameplay we've
design,
got to show off. This is a
or
look at
a lot of character
putting
designs
gems
for the
inside of,
combination settings too as well.
treasures to increase their value. Of course, if you
And
different
I
combinations
can
of
tell that they
gems
actually
net
want you to
different,
interact a lot more and more with
bonuses.
all the features instead of just some features, because depending on who you are, you're gonna have
there
a
are now
different
customized
playthrough. Some might be
cases
stealthy,
that
some
have
might
different
be tactical.
bonuses. So, like the black case has an increased drop rate for L resources.
Yeah.
And you can pick up charms as well, a little chicken charm. The charms and the cases they give you little passive bonuses.
Yeah. And you can do that stuff in the typewriter menu as you saw. So you can't do that all the time, just when you reach those saves point.
And look, you can even move the briefcase. That's pretty dope.
To keep up with all of our coverage,
Alright,
bookmark.
so far that's all the Game Informer gave us, but definitely shout outs because, pretty sure me along with all the other diehard Resident Evil 4 fans are just itching just to see a few more seconds of gameplay, but yeah, so far so good though. Everything about the game actually looks pretty polished. Everything from the characters being able to interact with, the environments, to the environments interacting with the player, to new mechanics that don't take away from the gameplay, but just like what I was saying earlier, make it to where you can engage in the enemies a lot different than before, instead of just shoot through everything, you're able to sneak around, approach enemies probably like a badass or like a coward at one point, either way. But yeah, so far that's all. So, but yeah, I just wanted to actually take a first look at it too, along with a review, just so I can give you guys something. So probably catch you guys in the next episode, and it's Re4 Remake.